God damn it, Glenn. Welcome to We're Kinda Bored Right Now.
Welcome to Joe Hewitt friggin' ranting at Glenn about games.
But we're having a serious discussion about browser games.
So we're waiting for Jeff, who isn't here yet. This is a pre-podcast show. You might even not be hearing this eventually, but
Yeah.
So it's come out through our pre-podcast discussion that Glenn doesn't play browser games specifically because they're free.
No, there is. Honestly, and this isn't just me, there's a psychological thing with it where I don't feel the urge to play. There may just be something.
The psychological thing I understand. The thing is, it's your steadfast refusal to like.
I'm not even into.
I will
I'm not
recommend
even interested in
games.
browser games.
I will recommend you games that you will enjoy that
Okay.
are free to play.
I'm holding you to this.
And that you will expand your worldview.
Are they free? Are they free? Or are they free to play?
They are free.
And they're good quality?
They're good quality.
Because I don't know, there's just something to it where there's like a lot of really, I have to say, shitty free games that to me it's just like I'm not even interested in
Again,
it.
back to talking about aliens.
unwilling-
Some people paid $60 for that one.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even buy a game like that. So it's like there's not even a point.
But like, how can you know? Like, see, the thing is, you're saying basically because they are free, I can assume that their quality is automatically going to be lower. Whereas, like things that like
I would say on average, the reason why there's even a psychological thing to it, free games tend to be of a lower quality, which is the reason why I think like this.
Minecraft used to be free.
Yeah, Minecraft is a free game. Minecraft is
Used to be.
was technically a free game for a time.
Yeah, that is true.
And I mean, even things in the free to play, the
But
free
that
to play model.
Minecraft is
For
Minecraft
example,
is pretty like that's a rare thing where a game like that just
Team
became.
is a free to play game now.
What is?
Team Fortress 2.
Oh well, that's Valve. I don't.
See, like the thing is, you're letting your biases color your ability to play things that are of value.
I don't know. There's
Yeah,
only,
Stanley Parable's a free to play game.
there's only so many games out there that I can play. And I don't know. I'd rather if I were to put like anything like my time, because my time is investment too. It's not even just money. My time is an investment, and I rarely ever think about playing browser games because the quality does tend to be like there's a lot of indie crap out there.
Well, there's a lot of crap out there, but there's a lot of stuff that's like really good. Like for example, Ex Mortis, I thought was an excellent game. Spoiler alerts for the actual podcast. I'm going to be talking about Ex Mortis, and even in the free-to-play model, what is it? Echo Bazaar, which became Fallen London, is I think an excellent game, even if it's like a free-to-play and pay to get other stuff game. The thing is, it's often browser games are it's a way for a lot of companies, just like mobile games are becoming now. It's a way for a lot of small studios to get started and develop IP and to later on move on to like full-sized games. For example, the studio that makes Fallen London, formerly Echo Bazaar, has moved on now to making what is it called? Sunless Sea.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's just there's so many because I mean when I think of free browser games, I think of someone just like messing around. They create like a little game that's it could be good, but for my time to be like looking for these games or whatever, hearing it, I don't know. I don't have like the patience to be looking up free browser games rather than like all the games that I have that I paid for that I know are going to be of a higher quality.
Well, that's because you have reviews.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why you have like I mean, you could say that about all games. You have reviews for this.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I actually have read reviews for many browser games. They have that system set up.
There
Yeah.
aren't that many though.
That is true. There are not as many resources for browser games as there are for traditional video games. I can't believe I just said that, but
Box games.
traditional video games.
Even though browser games are closer to traditional video games
Yeah,
now.
but like the traditional like reviews for games that come through the traditional methods of getting games have more reviews than browser games, and that is true. There are fewer resources, but the thing is like you're missing out on a lot of important stuff, a lot of good stuff that has been made, that you can get for free. And who is blooping me? Who's blooping? Jeff thought it was tonight. Okay, so Jeff's not. Okay.
Yes. Jeff is at a Magic pre-release right now, so he's not going to be able to come right now.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna have to reschedule then. 'Cause
Yeah. Well, let's just do this thing right now. Tell me some good free browser games.
All right. Okay. So good free browser games that I have played, and this is going to be coming from the list of games.
I'm gonna hold you to this. If this changes,
Fixation, 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 fixation. How many freaking times have I told you to play Fixation?
I haven't played Fixation, so I cannot guarantee what Jacob is saying. But Fixation.
what's fixation? This is the first time you told me.
Glenn, I shall
Yeah, this
beat
is
you
the
over
first
the
time
head
you-
with a mallet.
Just messing with you. I know.
Fixation, browser game.
It's a prequel to a company.
Well, Jacob, post the link. Well, Jacob, post the links to any games you mentioned. I'll post the links to any games I
Okay,
mentioned.
Fixation is a 2D platformer, and it's a prequel to A Company of Myself, which is another free-to-play, free browser game. And you play a female character with pink overalls jumping around the world smoking.
So Ex Mortis is a point-and-click adventure game, point-and-click horror adventure game. While it is certainly not up to the development quality of things like Amnesia. It is, as previously stated, free, and it's pretty quick. It's a pretty quick play, and well written. And the horror's particularly well done for such a small game. It has a sequel that I have never finished, but is also quite good.
Huh?
Um,
Are they both free?
They are both free. So Ex Mortis, and then once you're done with Ex Mortis, you should definitely play them in order, not out of order. But Ex Mortis 2 is also quite good. In addition to Ex Mortis 2, which I've posted in your link feed, what was I going to say? Oh, Fallen London. You do have to sign up through. You either have to sign up through an email or Facebook. I recommend Facebook. And in fact, if you play this, I will get back into Fallen London. It's a browser-based social game.
Wait, it's through Facebook.
It can be played through Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, because see that like right there, I'm not even interested. I hate Facebook games.
See, the thing is, you're not even giving it a chance.
I know, but I can't stand like those the Facebook games and shit. They're like,
Well, it's not like farm. It's not like a grinding engine.
somebody like invites the Candy Crush. Like screw that shit. I hate that.
No, this game isn't like basically the way you play the game is that you can play it solo by yourself. The game does get better when played with others. That's why I stopped because the game is kind of niche and no one else I know played it.
I wanted to, but I couldn't.
As long as you don't have a Facebook. Although I think they're Facebook free. They're free of Facebook now.
Yeah.
But it's a game that basically London has fallen underneath the earth, and it's kind of like a pseudo Lovecraftian steampunk game of intrigue, murder, and stuff like that. It's kind of like, I guess, the best thing I would describe it as, like kind of those in a way like Vampire the Masquerade, in that it does have combat elements, but it's more centered around the intrigues, and it's combat as a center of intrigue and stuff like that
Hmm.
uh, in the game. And it's not incredibly uh, the gameplay is not incredibly there's not a heavy gameplay system. It's mostly just centered around making simple checks
Yeah.
against a skill that you have. But the story that kind of winds up emerging from that is interesting, because what they do is, with a lot of the quests that you get, it's not like, oh, you're just to collect 15 bear asses for me. Oh, what, you have to pay me $10 to collect 15 bear asses faster. It's
I
what they
love
do.
those types of games, though.
Well,
I love collecting bear asses. That's how I
Okay,
rate
then,
my games.
I have one that's
what they do is that once you complete a quest can kind of create a story. Like, you can be involved in this quest to seduce a young artist's model or something, and as a part of the quest can unintentionally wind up falling in love with her, and then she'll seduce you, and it becomes this whole huge thing out of just simple, basically roll a die checks.
Yeah.
That I think it winds up being, for a game that's free, it winds up being very amusing and
okay.
distracting.
Then I have one. It's one of those. Hey, do you like a challenge? Here's a hammer. Sort of get.
What?
Here's a hammer. Try to not get killed. It's one of those types of games. It's called Pause Ahead, and it's a game where it's a puzzle platformer. You just jump around, and some levels only give you 1 second before you die. Like, you have to beat the level in 1 second, and the way you have to do that is you can still move around if you pause the game. But
Huh.
Oh, is it something along the lines of 30 seconds left to live?
never played that. But the way the game works is, if you jump and you pause, your momentum will friction stops existing. Your momentum will keep pulling you forward. There's no friction,
Interesting.
there's no gravity once you pause. And once you unpause, gravity and friction come back on. And the way it works, it's basic. And there are some problems with the game, like there's a secret ending. One of the secrets is basically impossible to find on your own. You need a guide to get one of the 3 secrets. The other 2 are kinda obvious. And the boss fight for the first ending is kind of annoying. Mostly because they introduced brand new mechanics during the boss fight. Yeah.
Interesting.
But it was an incredibly challenging game, a really hard, and I think very well designed, interesting mechanic, and just brutal. It is brutal. And there's a sad piano for some reason.
Yeah, I was trying to find the game I was thinking of. There's this game, I think it's called 10 Seconds to Live or
30
something like
seconds
that.
to live. And
There.
the game is called Pause Ahead. It is brutal. Like the very first couple levels where it's teaching you, it's kind of nice, but then it ramps up and tries to kill you multiple times with thwomps.
No, I'm thinking of the one where you have to, it's basically like a little puzzle game where each level's 10 seconds, and it's like you're a person the world's about to end in 10 seconds because it's about to be nuked to the fuck. And you're basically solving people's problems in 10 seconds. And it's a cute little game, and I enjoyed it.
Huh.
What else is there? There's another game that I'm, spoilers, gonna talk about more in the podcast called Today I Die.
Yeah.
This is getting in more into the realm of what I think is really great about free browser games. It lets you find indie game developers who are doing really interesting things with narrative and with the structure
Or
of
just
games.
making Super Meat Boy before they actually make Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great way to find up find up and coming indie developers, but also people who are experiment with different things in gameplay that you can't necessarily experiment with in a free-to-play or in a pay model because like people are relying on you to fucking sell a game, not like dig around with storytelling poetry games.
Yeah.
And like what Jacob, that game, do you remember that browser game from a few years back, the one with the alien in World War One trying to save the family?
I don't remember that one.
Okay, so I can't remember the name of it, but this is a game with you're playing a really tall alien who's just crash landed on Earth, and it's World War One, and you're trying to save a family that's fleeing the fighting. And the only way, like, you're not, like, you don't have any ability to attack. All you can do is like hunch over the family with your like really tall giant alien body and keep getting shot. And the game gets harder and harder as you get more and more hurt. Because you're like slower and you're more wounded, so you're like really kind of moving slowly, and it's harder for you to protect the family. But the whole objective of the game is to save this family from like all the fighting that's going on around them, and it's really, I wouldn't say fun, because it's kind of depressing, but it's I think a really well-made game, and I think it's a beautiful game. I liked it. 10 out of 10. And of course, Glenn's gonna be like, no, why can't I touch the family with my butt and then like experiment on them?
Yeah, how come I can't probe the family?
Yeah,
I don't know. It may be more of a thing with like indie. It's not just like free browser games or whatever. It's just with indie games in general. It's like, I mean, I appreciate that people are experimenting and stuff and making new types of games, which is like that's only happening like really in the indie scene. But at the same time, it's getting to the point where there's also a lot of indie, as I should say. I mean, there's a lot of shit in like the regular industry, but there's also a lot of shit that kind of like overcrowds all the good stuff.
Well, you're gonna get that with everything.
Yeah, that's gonna happen with everything, but I don't know. It also takes some of the value out of the other stuff too.
Well, I would agree that because it is now much easier to develop indie games. There's a lot of chaff that's getting added to the marketplace, but
Hello, Ad.
I mean, it's kind of always been the case that it's easy to like you're gonna have to work a little to find good games that you enjoy. Oh, Jesus, what the fuck is going on?
What is that?
It was a commercial on friggin' Armor Games.
Yeah.
I was looking for I'm trying to find the name of that alien war game thing. I think I found out about it through Extra Credits. So, I mean, Extra Credits is always a good source of games. Like, they did a whole episode on games that you can play for free and not have to pirate stuff.
Yeah.
A while back, and it was a really good episode. And they always introduce like really good games that are like indie games that are great to play.
You know the other thing about indie games, like for the free indie games, I find just like that these games they don't have a lot of depth to them. Where like they're good games, but they're like over like in a second. And to me, I don't know, maybe it's the crack addict part of my brain with video games where I need to have something in it where it feels like it's worthwhile to invest my time in or to get something out of it. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, like, you're talking about, like, the thing is, you're talking about playing Disgaea. Disgaea is like a freaking 8 million hour game, 90% of which is a misery grind.
I like that though, where I can feel like I'm putting like, I don't know, that's not for everybody, right?
Like, but grinding is literally like. And for those games we were talking about grinding before I made Jacob start recording this. Grinding is literally a waste of time. It is you are actively wasting your time. The gameplay that you are striving to like be a part of is being held away from you. It's like, no, you haven't earned this until you've spent 100 hours collecting bear asses.
Disgaea is an extreme example, though. It's known for the grinding aspect of it, but like I'm not even just talking about grinding. I'm just like putting in grinding isn't necessarily adding depth to a game. I'm talking about like
I do see what you're saying, but the thing is, if you're regard like if what I'm saying is that yeah, there's not a lot of content in a lot of these games.
Yeah.
But there's also not a lot of investment that you have to put into it. So you can what's great about a lot of these games, like the original Stanley Parable. The original Stanley Parable, the game took maybe 10 minutes to complete once. And you'd play it you'd play it for an hour. You'd play it like 6 or 7 times, you'd be done. Or you'd have explored all the possible options in the game. But what was great about the Stanley Parable is what it said about games. It was funny. Like A, it was funny, and B, it said a lot about how we design games and how we think about games, and just things we come to expect from games that really make them strange departures from the way life and the way we traditionally think of narratives working are.
yeah.
And you got that for free, and it took 10 minutes to play, and it was entertaining as shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just a thing. I just don't like short games. I don't know.
I think you need to open yourself up to more players.
Like I prefer playing longer games. That I don't know.
Now that I've finally gotten you to join the PC Gaming Master Race, I think it's now time for me to expose you to more games.
That too. Just because I haven't had a PC for the longest time is also probably another reason
Yeah,
why.
well, I also like longer games, but let me tell you, Dungeon Master seems like it would take a long time to play on your iPhone.
Well, here's the Dungeon Master.
The one that EA released.
I don't know what that is. You explain it to him. I have to go get a napkin because I spilled water.
Okay,
on my
but that game's terrible. I'm not explaining that one. No, but another one this one is not what I would call the greatest game ever made, but this little game called Skullface. It's effectively a shorter and easier version of just Super Meat Boy. It's just a basic platformer that's kind of cute. An alien steals this guy's heart, and he has to go after it. It's really adorable, and it's a fun little game. You just kind of have to platform your way through it and try to survive as much as you can.
And isn't Depression Quest also a free-to-play game? Yes. Yeah. So things like Depression Quest, which are there have been game critics who actually have talked about how things like Depression Quest got them to realize oh shit, hey, maybe I have a serious depression issue and maybe I should get this looked into. There was a dude who he realized because of Depression Quest that he had not only severe depression but was also in an abusive relationship and was hey, maybe I should not be doing these things anymore. And I view it yeah, I like long games. I like really long games.
Yeah, if you feel like you're getting more because I buy most of my games, I feel like I'm getting more value out of them. So it's
well, the thing is, I view it differently than that. It's I view it yeah, I like long games. I like some stupidly long games. I like Skyrim, which generally it's considered if you put less than 100 hours into that game, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, no.
But I also that doesn't, just because I like that, doesn't mean I have to exclusively like those things. That doesn't mean that that's the only things that are of value to me. It's I like movies, but I also like 10-minute YouTube videos. Both of those things can have meaning, and both of those things can provide value in a different, in equally good but different ways.
Yeah, no, I get you. I just, for me personally, with my taste, I don't know.
I'm not giving it a chance though, and that's what's frustrating me.
Glenn.
Okay, I'll get.
This is the most mainstream game I can think of. It's called Zombatron 2. It is a game where you play a guy who has a gun who has to shoot zombies. And it's free.
I've played I think I played like a couple of those types of games when I was in like high school or whatever that were free.
Well, of course you did. You were in high school. What else did you do on the computer?
Yeah, I know exactly. That's what I think of.
learn?
That's
what nerd learns in high school? Psh.
That's what I think of when I think free to play though, like those browser games, because it's like if you have nothing, with my mindset, if you have nothing better to do, if you don't have like an actual game, you'd play a free to play browser game.
See, I think that's the wrong way to come at it, because I think since your only exposure to browser games is like quick.
Those old mini-clip games from like 10 years ago?
Yeah. The thing is, those mini-clip games do have value. I mean, like...
Browser games
they're
evolved.
not extremely... Yeah, browser games have evolved a lot. And I mean... And even back in the mini-clip days, I mean, that's when Ex Mortis came out. I mean, Ex Mortis is a really old game now. I think like Ex Mortis came out when I was still in like high school, so that was many years have passed, and that was a good game. But browser games have moved far beyond that. I mean, things like Depression Quest is browser based, or do you have to install it? Yeah, okay. There's things like Depression Quest. There's things like friggin' Today I Die. There's all kinds of cool stuff that's being made in the free-to-play browser
space. Also, Unity can be a browser game, so you have full 3D games coming out.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff being done.
I don't
in
really
the browser.
want to mention any of them because 2 of my favorite Unity games are going to be for the actual podcast, but...
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should start checking
Maybe
these
I should
things
come
out.
over and finally visit you and force you to play one of these.
Post on you outside your house and make you play.
Like Clockwork Orange, you're just gonna like tie me.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly.
My eyes are gonna be like wide open. I'm just gonna be staring at these games. I'm like, oh god, make it stop.
And then we're gonna like give you the drugs that make you vomit, and make you play like Call of Duty repeatedly.
Oh, you don't have to do that. You don't have to even give me a drug anymore.
Okay, then.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I actually used to be like a competitive Call of Duty player before it became like.
There was a time where I considered
pro shooter.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I actually considered Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare 1, to be an excellent game, and a game that they should, expand upon and make more of. And then rather than expanding upon it, they just made more of it.
They shouldn't.
And by more of it, I mean they made an exact copy of that game 15
Oh yeah, I
times.
completely forgot about Sky Islands existing.
I hate annualized games. Like
Sky Island, just randomly, it's basically Fez, but shorter and a pure puzzle game.
Well,
Assassin's Creed is another series that's been ruined by the fact that they're annualizing it.
yeah, and that's the thing. I think like it's one thing to say, hey, let's as a company, it's like, hey, let's target this next release for a year away. And to say that internally, that's like our goal is to kind of get it out in a year. But if that doesn't happen, and we'd rather have a better game than to get this game out in a year. And I think the problem with having investment bankers run the games industry is that you have people who think that it's like, oh, now that we're a big industry, we have to meet these quarterly earnings reports. And I'm like, listen, you may understand quarterly earnings reports, but you don't understand games. Because if you make a bad product, if your goal is to get this game out by the quarterly earnings report, you're going to wind up with a bad product. And if you wind up with a bad product, your quarterly earnings report a year from now is going to look a lot more dismal than your quarterly earnings report this year did. So it's
problem, like with Call of Duty though, like that game still sells, and yet like the last one was like, even from Call of Duty players that play it regularly, they didn't like it. Call of Duty Ghosts apparently sucked.
Yeah, well, the thing is, what's going to happen with Call of Duty is what happened with Guitar
Hero and
Okay,
like.
then. I have found the longest browser game I know of. I don't know if I should share
What?
it. Echo's
What is it?
Operation Stranglehold.
What?
Is it about a dolphin?
What? No. No,
I go to-
Echo's Operation Stranglehold is about a post-apocalyptic Earth that has aliens attacking.
That
It's
sounds pretty cool.
one of those.
Interesting.
It looks like it takes a lot of inspiration from JRPGs, because you don't actually have gameplay for the first 15 minutes. And it's just telling its story. The gameplay is very odd from what I recall. But, oh dear God, it is long. I played it for an hour, and I don't think I scratched the surface.
Is it a good game?
Yeah,
It's a browser
it has
game?
an 8.6 out of 10 rating and over 6 million plays on Armor Games.
Wow.
But
Can you save browser games?
Yes. Oh, that reminds me of another browser game that I thought was excellent. Scary Girl, which has now actually made a transition to like a full
downloadable
game.
not a box game.
Yeah, well, a downloadable full game that you can pay for, Glenn, so this might appeal to you. Scary Girl started off as a free-to-play game that was like it was a long game, but you could save it and restart it. It's Scary Girl. Scary
Oh, yeah,
Girl
there's a
was
bunch
great.
of longer games where you can save it.
Oh yeah, old
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Browser games have that reputation of being free, short, and maybe cool, maybe like a good game, but like they tend to be like quick and like you kind of like forget them afterwards. And
or
and-
Well,
You don't have, like, this
Echo's Operation Stranglehold, I only played for 1 hour. I never forgot that experience because it was so weirdly long. Just like, I'm playing a JRPG right now, and it's on my browser, and it has full voice acting, and it has all this stuff in it, and it's just like, how is this working?
that's interesting because I've never played a free browser game like that.
I'll post it,
Well-
but be warned, it is a game that's asking you for a long haul.
right. Well, I'm gonna wanna like abandon
Okay
ship
then,
here.
so that was our
Yeah.
first episode of God Damn It Glenn. This
Yeah.
one I'm actually calling
First-
God Damn It Glenn. This one I am committing.
This is
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I don't know. Until I play, I have to check these games out, but my mindset's not going to change. I still have that.
God damn it, Glenn.
I am
Um,
committing to it because this is
all right,
this is a thing where we just ranted at Glenn. I'm committing to this one.
I'm not the only one that has this opinion though about these games. Like,
Well, no, but we are actively fighting that opinion here.
And we're fighting it with you.
I guess
Glenn.
I'm-
You are the target.
I'm just the devil's advocate of this.
You are the target with. You are the target. We are aiming our fight against.
Okay.
You're going to be the first convert.
Yep, and yeah, I am actually calling this Goddamn It Glenn. This one is going to be called Goddamn It Glenn.
Go right ahead.
All right. So
Okay.
I'll talk to you guys later. I gotta go get ready for a game of Rogue Trader and to eat food.
Yeah, I'm gonna go eat lunch.
Yeah, and Jacob has to go play Ultimate Frisbee and run around with
Yeah.
frisbees
Ick.
that are, I assume energy, like actually energy discs that can remove your hands if you catch them improperly.
I just imagine Jacob running outside right now, throwing a frisbee, and then running and trying to catch it by himself.
No, what I imagine is like generally by the way you say when people say Ultimate Frisbee, I imagine well no, I know how to play Ultimate Frisbee, but I always imagine it as some kind of blood sport where instead of being
Ultimate frisbee, like, you catch the frisbee and the other person pulls out a gun.
yeah, exactly.
It's ultimate frisbee.
Extreme.
Extreme frisbee.
Jacob-
Like, the
Jacob
guy,
Extreme is
there's a
the
scene
player.
there's a scene from Samurai Cop where the guy throws a frisbee, and at the other, like the bad guy, and the guy goes to catch the frisbee and it's got blades and it chops off his fingers.
Well, see, I imagine Jacob plays like that because I've seen his Ultimate Frisbee uniform, and it's like a bulletproof vest,
He's got an ultimate frisbee.
like
uniform.
with kill markers. I'm not even joking.
Serious?
Kill markers sprayed onto his vest. There's like a skull for each kill. I think he started doing like every 5 kills is like a skull with a sword through it or something.
Yeah.
That was our first episode of Goddamn It
Okay.
Glenn. I'm glad you were here to share it
Yeah.
with us.
Yes, I'm glad you were here to share it with us too. And share our knowledge of Jacob's Bloodsport Ultimate Frisbee.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. See,
Good luck, Jacob. I hope you survive, and if you don't, die well.
yeah. Well, we could always just glue your fingers
Thank you
back
very
on.
much for that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.